Okay, real quick here, because I know that arguing with vegans on the internet could supply me with literally an endless quantity of content, and I have far better things to do with my time, but I do think it's important to address the fact that so many spaces and ideologies we think are the purview of leftist thought are actually alt-right pipelines, are actually viewpoints and beliefs that overlap significantly with the far right, with white supremacy, that so many beliefs that we think are really pure and progressive and woke can actually function as conduits to radicalize people for the right and are actually not free of white supremacy. Also often not free of ableism and misogyny and childism either. But in particular, I want to talk about this video where I was discussing how veganism, in particular, vegan activism, can be an alt-right pipeline, not unlike the environmentalism to alt-right pipeline and the crunchy mom to alt-right pipeline and the yoga to alt-right pipeline and definitely the wellness culture to alt-right pipeline. That's all fucking maha. I posted about this on YouTube and man, oh man, a lot of dysregulated vegans in my comments absolutely having a meltdown. So many of them are like, we're not racist. There is no anti-indigenous bias. We're not racist. Just tons of that. I can't be racist. I'm on the political left. I have a right to tell other people from other cultures what to eat. I have a right to superimpose my ideology on them and tell them, moralize about their traditional cultures and food, bar them from living out their traditional culture. I got so many horrific comments from people who think that they are on the political left. I don't have time to break all of them down, but I did want to reference one person here who left a ton of comments. Because one, I think what they said was particularly despicable, and two, because they seem completely oblivious to that fact. So this person said indigenous peoples ate the Three Sisters diet before colonization. And that's when I clicked on their name to see what other kinds of comments they left. They just left like an endless list of just vile comments. So first of all, they engaged in this really silly fallacy where they're like, is Nick Fuentes out here promoting veganism and I just missed it? Alex Jones, red face, about to have a heart attack, eats only beans and rice, huh? I mean, we could set aside the fact that Hitler was a strict vegetarian. We could set aside how many vegan influencers have fallen down the alt-right pipeline or simply outed themselves in the last 5+ years as having always been on the alt-right. I wish I had time in this video to go over this article from 2017 in Vice, Why So Many White Supremacists Are Into Veganism. Maybe I'll do that in the next video. But I really want to get into this horrific stereotyping that they engaged in repeatedly. They said in so many places in my comments, in fact, indigenous peoples were eating the Three Sisters diet until colonization. Maybe you should look into the indigenous trying to bring it back for health and spiritual reasons. It's always white people using brown culture to justify their meat lust. Indigenous people being forced to eat meat is a far cry from your privileged personal cow in your freezer. Oh, glad that you've watched some of my other content, weird, creepy vegan. How absolutely repellent that you would stereotype hundreds and hundreds of indigenous cultures as all being exactly the same, as all eating the same diet. How weird and creepy that you would fall into this Three Sisters stereotype and be like, indigenous people are actually vegan. They eat the Three Sisters diet. Cool, tell the Tlingit that they should go ahead and try and cultivate the Three Sisters. How about you tell my indigenous spouse and children that their traditional foods of turtle, fish, and deer and rabbit were not actually part of their traditional diet, and they really actually just always grew the Three Sisters. You want to go ahead and tell them a story about the Pilgrims at the first Thanksgiving and expect them to buy that too? What the fuck are you talking about? But thank you, actually, random person on the internet who saw fit to leave a dozen comments on my YouTube video. You are proving my point so fucking hard. You think that you're on the political left. You think you're super fucking woke and are completely oblivious to the horrific amount of racism that you hold, the amount of stereotyping, the amount of wanting to superimpose your beliefs onto other people, especially onto indigenous people, especially onto cultures that have experienced a genocide by the United States government, continually live in oppression, are denied access to their culture, their foodways, their land because of white people. You want to sit there as a vegan and now tell them what they can and cannot eat, and then you want to make up I don't know, whatever stories you have, whatever myths you want to share about what their traditional foods are. You want to paint hundreds and hundreds of cultures as being exactly the same. it's reprehensible. So whoever is being like, no, there's no such thing as white supremacy and veganism. There's no such thing as a vegan to alt-right pipeline. There's no such thing as veganism and any food ideology that calls some foods clean and some foods dirty, some foods pure and some foods sinful and immoral. The fact that you don't want to see that that is an alt-right pipeline, the fact that you don't want to see that that is white supremacy, that hyper control, telling other people what they can and cannot put into their bodies, making moral judgments about the food that they grow and harvest and eat, making moral judgments about their culture, trying to superimpose your own ideology. If you can't see that that's fucking white supremacy, spend a little time unpacking that. Somebody in my comments today said, basically anything counterculture in America has the potential to be used as an alt-right pipeline. And I think that's very, very true. If we on the political left are not open to the ways that every subculture has pathways that are attempting to radicalize us for the alt-right, we are making ourselves vulnerable. We are allowing our spaces and our beliefs to undermine the causes that we say we care about. We are making ourselves vulnerable to being radicalized, and we are choosing to be willfully blind to the ways that our beliefs might actually reinforce white supremacy, might actually be steeped in, suffused in, originate in white supremacy. What was that, Ruth?
Anytime vegans say that indigenous people shouldn't eat meat because they can just grow the three sisters like they're supposed to, they're obligated to donate at least $200 to elders living in the Arctic. And if they don't make this donation post-haste, they have to get drawn and quartered.